Hi, Angela Smith here, North Webster Junior High 6th grade social studies teacher. Today we're going to talk about African kingdoms, and specifically we're going to talk about 3 kingdoms that participated in the gold and salt trade. Gold being valuable, of course, for its decorative qualities and for money, and salt for the curing of meat. And we see here those kingdoms are Ghana, Songhai, Mali, that we're going to focus on. And they knew how to cross the Sahara Desert. And they did that mainly on camelback in what we call caravans. And those caravans would cross the desert, collect the salt in the northern part of the Sahara Desert, and then use the gold to trade for other items. Kingdoms in West Africa, they had a surplus of products like gold, and they developed this trade network across the Sahara Desert. They knew where they could find water and such during their travels. Camels can travel long distances without much water. And we can see salt is still traded today. It's not as expensive as it once was or as valuable, but here we have some salt slats that have been mined in Africa. And here's what raw gold looks like. This started around 500 AD or CE, however you want to say that, and lasted 1600s was the main time that these areas were under the control of Africans. See some more salt here being sold in an African market. First, we're going to look at the African kingdom of Ghana, and you see how they overlap. Ghana first came to power around 400 years after the birth of Christ, and they stayed in power in their area, trading gold for salt, until about 1230, so about 800 years. They were located in West Africa. They controlled that gold and salt trade. The kingdom became very wealthy. We can see still today, people in Ghana have the same types of house structures, made mainly from mud. They would use sticks for support and have normally one way in, one way out. A one-room hut with a dirt floor, as seen here. This is a modern village in Ghana. Many of the people still live as hunter-gatherers. Many of them still live as traders in their area. Some of the more wealthy places, such as a church or a monastery, would be more decorative, as seen, with the sticks poking out of the building, a more decorative facade. Here we have some Ghana children with their masks. They use masks during ceremonies. They also sell them now. Those masks can be colorful, represent different places in your tribe. The Ghana Empire, located here in Western Africa, close to the Atlantic Ocean. They use the Niger River for part of their trading network. Ghana women were normally in charge of the home, gathering some food and taking care of things like the cooking and such. Here we have some women weaving baskets, much as they have done for thousands of years. They would use straw, other plant materials, weave those baskets. They're a big tourist sale for people that travel there today. And they use them to store goods in. They also made very colorful beads. They would wear not only as necklaces, but also make into their clothes for special occasions. Most of the Ghana music, as you can hear in the background, uses a lot of drums. Here are some of their drums that have been decorated. The dress of the Ghana people, as you can see, is very colorful. Lots of different types of colors. This is a wedding in the traditional Ghana fashion. Ghana is still a country today. They suffer from a lack of drinkable water. It's called potable. And they also have a lot of trash to deal with. Ghana was taken over by a kingdom just next to them called Mali, is where we're going to go next. The Mali kingdom encompassed the Ghana kingdom. The Mali kingdom included cities such as Gao and Timbuktu and Jinnee. These are still cities today. Again, they use the Niger River. Mali came in power around 1076 when the Berbers defeated the Empire of Ghana. And we see here some of the different rulers. Sundiata became the king of Mali and the empire. The reign of Mansa Musa, which was their most important ruler, we'll talk about later. Most of the people were farmers, traders, or miners. We see here some images of those people today. They had very similar jobs as the people in Ghana. Their houses were also made of similar materials: mud, sticks for support, and thatch or tree particles for the roofs. There are more decorative buildings. This is one of the Mosque, which is a Muslim church that was built thousands of years ago, about 1,000 years ago. It's more decorative than most of them. Most of the people in this area, again, live very similarly than they did 1,000 years ago. So you see, we have incorporated some bricks now into their architecture. They also use masks in their rituals and dances, and we have some of those in art collections around the world. Not as decorative as the mask from Ghana, not as colorful, but still representing different jobs or positions in the Ghana village, or the Mali village, sorry. These are also sold. They also have lots of drums in their music. Here we see a picture of a young a celebration that includes dancing and very colorful feathers or hair decorated, and everyone's wearing a mask. Here are some ladies wearing traditional Mali outfits. Again, it's very colorful. It has lots of vibrant use of patterns. We have a bride dressed in the traditional Malaysian bridal wear. Lots of gold. Again, these people were gold traders, so there are lots of gold. The gentleman as well, dressed up. And we also have some artwork from Mali, some mainly made of pottery or of some type of metal like bronze or iron. And some unique looking artwork here. The most significant ruler in ancient Mali was Mansa Musa. Mansa Musa came to power, and he's known as one of the most wealthiest men in history, perhaps the wealthiest. That's still under debate. Mansa Musa's wealth was used not for himself, but he built mosques, he built schools, he built universities. He allowed his subjects to practice any religion he wanted. He did not force conversion to Muslim or Islam. And he took a religious journey to the city of Mecca, which is here shown in Saudi Arabia. And these are some of the routes we think he might have taken. He didn't go by himself. He went with an entourage of tens of thousands of servants, followers, people. This is some artwork drawn of his classic journey. We're not 100% sure on the path he took, but we do know that he took camels on his journey. That's how he transported himself and all the goods. We know that he gave gold to people all along his journey, every town that he came to. In fact, there's some historical records that the amount of gold he left behind caused disruption in that local people's economy. Here's just an artistic representation of Mansa Musa. He went on this religious journey to Mecca, which is something that every Muslim is supposed to do. And he went just to visit the places where Muhammad, the prophet, had preached and lived. It is said that along the way, some of the rulers that he met asked him to stay with them for some time. And he would have houses built to put his followers and his workers. They didn't stay in the capital or in the church of the king. Here's one of the mosques that he had built back in Timbuktu when he returned from his Mecca. Still there today. You can go see it. People still use it for a worship center. And the question is, was Mansa Musa the richest man in the world? And you can go to this article and check it out for yourself if you'd like, and read the article, and it's got some resources there that can help you figure out if you think he was. Now, lastly, we're going to look at Songhai. Songhai, after Mansa Musa died, there wasn't a ruler with his charisma and with his strategic mind that could hold Mali together, and so the people of Songhai came in and kind of took over. They, again, were participating in these same activities, trading gold for salt, controlling the trans-Saharan trade routes. As you see, their empire was located in pretty much the same place. They also started trading people into slavery. And this is where we see the beginnings of what would become what we've studied as American slavery, where people from Africa were transported against their will to the colonies to be used as slaves. So the same area took over the area that was once Ghana, that was once Mali, and now it's the Songhai Empire. The Songhai Empire controlled the gold and salt trade, like we said. They were industrious farmers. They were skilled craftsmen. They had iron, the copper, development of the slave trade. Merchants became very wealthy in the Songhai Empire, and Timbuktu remained one of the main cities. They also utilized camels after the death of Mansa Musa in around 1430. That's when this empire became to. This is the Great Mosque of Jinnee, like we had seen in the other images. I want to show you some of the trade routes so you can see how intricate they were. Now, they knew exactly where you could go across the desert, what places were safer than others. And we want to take a look at Songhai at its height under the reign of Askia the Great, around 1680. Now, during this time, European nations are starting to want to conquer Africa, to share in their spoils. Here we have some artwork from Songhai. And those European nations start to come in and take over. And what do you think the Europeans had that the Africans didn't have that allowed them to conquer them so easily and dominate them for much of the next 300 years? Have you figured out what that is yet? That would be the use of firearms, right? The impact of European imperialism in Africa is that Africa, many places you can see in this map, many places remain under European imperialists, like countries like France, Great Britain, Spain, a few others. They remain under their control until 1800s, late 1800s, 1880s, even into 1950, 1960, which wasn't that long ago. That imperialism sets up triangular trade. They would use people from Africa, ship them over to the American colonies, and those people would be used to produce raw goods like cotton, sugar, fabric to use in clothing. Those raw materials would then be shipped to Europe, where they would be produced. They would be refined and produced into the finished product like clothing, sugar for use in coffee or tea, and tobacco would become different products. And then the Europeans would ship more slaves. This was the pattern of the triangular trade. So that was the impact of these African kingdoms. Their wealth collected the attention of the European nations. All right? So I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you next week.